welcome to the shed. Now, today's a beautiful day, the sun's shining, and it's really time to be out on the bike, instead of which I'm in the shed. Well, at least for now, I'm not going to stay in here very long. But with the 650 Bandit now ready to run until its next service, which is a short distance away, it's time to turn my attention back to the other bikes, in particular the DRZ, which is slightly overdue for its 15,000 mile service. Now, one of the things I'm going to be doing on that, I think, is to change the chain and sprockets as part of the service, which leads me into the questions. A couple of people have asked me about, well, how do I know when I need to change this chain? Well, it's really fairly straightforward. When you're cleaning your chain, which you should be doing on a regular basis, then you're looking for damage to the chain. You can't see that if the chain's dirty, and if the chain's dirty, it's covered in grit and everything else which is working its way in and just causing untold damage to your chain you don't need. They're expensive, I said that before. Good chain's expensive, you want a good chain, so why ruin its life and shorten its life significantly by not taking care of it? And it's simple and easy to do. Anyway, off the subject. So you're looking for things like O-rings coming out, if you've got an O-ring chain, X-ring chain, whatever you want to call them. You're looking for damage to the rollers, you're looking for rust, you're looking for seized links. Now, seized links are normally one of the first things that crop up if you're not looking after the chain, if it's not properly lubricated. But at the end of the day, if you're doing all that and the chain's okay, there comes a point when it's had it and it needs to be replaced. The DRZ, I think, is way past the limit of being had it and needing to be replaced, but we'll see that in a minute. There's a couple of obvious tells when you're cleaning your chain and checking the adjustment that it's worn out. One is you've run out of adjustment. That's where I am with the DRZ. That's why I know, for no other reason at all, that it needs replacing. The second point is you can lift the link off the rear sprocket and see how much gap there is. Now, with a new chain, it'll hardly move. As the chain wears, you'll be able to pull it further and further off because the teeth on the sprocket are wearing and the chain itself is stretching. It doesn't really stretch, the side plates don't stretch, but what happens is all the joints inside, the pins and the links, they wear and you get gaps and therefore they start to move apart. So it doesn't really stretch as such, it just wears out, and as it wears out it gets longer. However, because people have asked me, I just want to quickly show you how you actually check your chain for wear, and it's the same for all chains at the end of the day. Although you get different specifications, 520, 525, 530, whatever, depending on how big and heavy your bike engine is and how much power it puts out. At the end of the day, the link size is pretty much the same. There's some differences, I'm not going to bother about that. But your manual will have the specification for your chain in it. Now, I think the DRZ is a bit under-chained. It's only a 400, it doesn't need a massive chain. On the other hand, it has a great acceleration, and for me it accelerates faster than 650 Bandit, which I've just put on a heavy-duty 530 chain because that's going to be a commuting tool. The DRZ was also a commuting tool. Anyway, I'm talking too much, so let's go and have a look at the chain. Okay, stage one, with the bike firmly on the ground, and before you start putting it on stands and stuff, although I do have it on a stand, crack off the rear axle nut. First things first, before you work on your bike, always before you work on your bike, clean it. Nothing worse than getting dirty and oily and gritty while you're trying to work on things on your bike. In the case of the back end, of course, this is the dirtiest, oiliest, grittiest part of your bike. So even more important that it's actually clean. Now, as you can see, I've cleaned it all off. Even though this is an old chain, it's now ready for me to work on. So, adjusters, as you can see, this is right at the limit. That's a clear tell that the chain needs to be replaced. Now, how about the old, can I pull the link off enough to get a pencil under it? Not really. You can see it pulls off a bit, but not a lot. So that raises the question, has it had the wrong chain fitted? Has it been replaced before by a previous owner? Is it too long? Is it a link too long? Is this why I'm running out of adjuster? Well, there's only one way to know, and that's to measure it. So that's what we're going to do now. first things first is to loosen up your rear axle and then move the wheel back until the chain is tight. Now you should do it using the chain adjusters, but you can get a rough guide without it. So there we go, so the chain is tight. Now, as I say, should do that with the adjusters, just to be sure. Okay, back off the lock nut. Okay, and as I wind this out, we'll take out the slack in the chain. Doesn't have to be bone tight, but it does want to be tight so that you've actually stretched it as far as it's possible to go. And we do the same on the other side. Right, you'll see I've taken the chain guard off, partly so it's easier to see what's happening, partly because it allows me to clean the chain guard and the chain a bit better, and mainly because we actually need to count off 21 pins, and there is no way in hell you're going to do it under here without taking stuff off, so it's easiest to do it on top. Now I've got the split link here, which makes an easier starting point, so I need to count 21 pins from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this is the one that's directly over that sprocket nut there. So now we measure. So from that pin to that pin, and I'm at 12 3/4 inches, or if you prefer metric, I'm about 32.5 centimeters, so 325 mil. Now, according to Suzuki, the wear limits on this are 12.57 inches or 319 mil. So I'm about 6 mil over on my wear, and that confirms this chain is toast. It's stretched as far as it's going to stretch, and that means that chain and sprockets need to be changed. It's hardly unexpected, but as I say, it answers the question. If you're not sure, measure it. Certainly it proved that old test of pulling that link off, and if you can fit a pencil under it, then it's toast. It's history. It doesn't work, so don't rely on it. Well, it might work on some chains, but not on these fancy modern ones with the O-rings, X-rings, whatever. Okay, so there you go. All you need to do now is slack that back off and set your chain tension normally. Now I'm going to pull the wheel out, the axle out when I'm done checking this, and replace the chain adjusters with these, which are supposedly titanium, because I've had a problem, as a lot of owners of DRZs and similar Suzukis have had, with these seizing in. And what's happened on the other side is that, as you can see, that nut there is rounded. So that's not good, so that's getting changed, and that's what I'm going to do with these, replace them with the other ones, and hopefully we won't have this problem again. Right, so there you go. It's a simple enough thing. Chain adjusters will give you a very good idea of where you are in terms of chain wear, but if you want to be sure, if you want to squeeze the last few miles of life out your chain, then give it a measure. You should be able to find the specs in your manual, or try and find a manual online, or talk to somebody who has one. There you go, simple thing to do, takes a couple of minutes. Don't forget, once you're done, reset your chain tension and torque up the rear axle. So hope that helps, and see you guys again soon.